بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome all of you, wherever you are. And welcome you again with lecture Fatwa Life. The first question about piercing your nose, so you could have, some kind of shuri for women. The question is that you had fatwa that you cannot pierce the nose, and we kept that. But sometimes we see women that came with a piercing, and they put an earring in it. Do we have a sin? First of all, I don't remember that I made a fatwa before that forbids the selling of the earrings that goes into the nose. And I remember that saying this is something, the fatwa depends on the traditions. Whomever in a country that the women have this as a way of beautifying their woman, it was the habit of women to do it. There is no burden with that. Allah said, and whomever mentioned that in the Quran, that she can beautify herself in anything that it is the tradition of their community or her country, did not have anything forbidden by itself, that is allowed. With that is the fatwa of the major of the scholars. Ibn Uthaymeen was asked, he said, piercing the nose, I don't know for the scholars anything. There's like some of us see it as not something to beautify yourself. So if it is for a country that is considered a beauty, that's fine. There is no burden with that. And more than that, one of the scholars is explaining the Sunan of Abu Dawood. He was asked, some of the women, they pierced their nose and they put some jewelry. Is that allowed? He said yes. He said, if it is the tradition of women to beautify themselves with it, there is nothing wrong with that. It will be just like piercing the ear. But he said, and it was until recently, but it was left in this time. So I don't make this fatwa that is forbidden. So I don't know who gave that fatwa in my name. But what I said, I took it to the tradition. So if it is the tradition of the country, no problem, inshallah. And it's very flexible area. Another question the brother is asking, and this is a very important question. Is it for those who stay the night of the last year and he made it for dhikr and reciting of the Quran? Does he have a double reward for the hadith, the worship at the time of an awareness, just like migration toward me? And somebody used to have people combine in his masjid for that. What it seems to me that you should not have that night or that day for anything. So it will be better in being different, but fearful of people that they will fall on something that is forbidden. So he brought them to do some kind of activity because of the holiday. It is better, inshallah. It's flexible time, inshallah. And the decision for Amja, it says getting the families to do dawah programs or social ones during the religious activities for the non-Muslims. There is nothing wrong with it. It depends on the intention, and don't keep it as a tradition, or so it will be not something that's gonna be an innovation. But it looks like there is a difference between what the Amjad did and the Sheikh. We not to do anything except there is an interest. We are fearful for our youth, so we do some kind of activities so they will not indulge in celebrating the New Year Eve. So to gather them in the masjid at this time to protect them from what happens outside. It is something that is allowed, but the Sheikh says that it is allowed and it is actually getting closer to Allah, because this is the worship at the time of the calamities. It might be, maybe you can at the time of the unawareness, from you are worshiping Allah, and because it is harder on the soul, so it will be harder in the reward. And Allah take the calamity out. The Prophet ﷺ was asked, oh Prophet, Usama bin Zayd asked him, oh Messenger of Allah, I didn't see you fasting more than Sha'ban. He said that's a month that people are unaware of, between Rajab and Ramadan. It is a month that the action, the deeds are taken to Allah, is exposed to Allah. So I want my deed to be exposed with me fasting, which shows that the time of unawareness, it is recommended that you, instead of indulging with the desires, you make it into worship of Allah. A lot of people of the previous generations, they wanted to make between Maghrib and Isha, they take it all for worshiping Allah. This is a time of unawareness. Also in the middle of the night, because unawareness, people either sleep till Fajr or they go to the last night, but the midnight, a lot of people miss it. So they used to love to stay up at night, recite Quran and praying at that time. Also to make dhikr in the market, because people unaware, they are very busy with so many attractions. Al-Hafidh ibn Rajab, he has a book about the goodness. It says to resurrect the time that is unaware, the time and people unaware. There is so many benefits. First of all, it has to be hidden. It is better to keep them, especially the fasting. It is a secret between the servant and his Lord. And nothing you hide for the sake of Allah, Allah will give him the reward in front of people. It is harder on the soul to do it, but it is the best deeds are the one that's harder on the soul to do. From the benefits of the time of unawareness, that those who do worship, he will stop the calamity on all people, as if he is protecting them and defending them. And a Muslim al-Bazzar, easy on Allah, if it was not for people who are worshipping Allah and children that are breastfed and animals that are in need, they will not get like the earth will be shaken from underneath you. And someone is asking about to take it easy on yourself. When someone get him angry, he go to one of his friends or Tasha. He's feeling depressed, oppressed. You want to sit with people to relieve himself, to tell him something what's in his heart. Is that backbiting? Because the backbiting is to mention your brother with what will upset him. The answer originally it is forbidden and it is from the big sins. And Allah said in His book, none of you should make ghiba on each backbiting. Does any of you like to eat the flesh of his brother dead and you hate it? So fear Allah, He is most forgiving and merciful. But there's an exception that you can't backbite. The person who is oppressed, he can declare what happened. So and so did me wrong. Allah don't like the declaration of evil except for those who are oppressed. So he can raise his voice and say to people, so and so did me wrong. And to even make dua against the person who did him wrong. Of course, those who are patient and forgive, it is from the greatest amount matters. And his word on Allah. Allah does not like the declaration of evil except for the people who are oppressed. To go to the Mufti and so did me 1, 2, 3. Can he does that? Is he allowed to do so? Or to go to the judge and you raise a case against so and so, and you have to say what happened to you to the judge, or take the opinion of someone to solve a problem, or to take something evil. One of the scholars said, 6, oppressed, teacher, and one who's learning, and one who is declared the evil, and someone who asks for help on something that we removed. And what is done for need or emergency, it depends on the matter that he is in need for. Because originally it is forbidden, not allowance. Someone is asking, one of my relatives, before his death, he said, this house for my wife. He gave his house a gift for his wife. Everybody witnessed that. And this farm for my daughter. She's not his daughter, but he raised her. Can he give that? Or is that all going to all the inheritance? You don't have kids, but brothers and sisters. The rules, my brothers, that the gift is not done except with receiving, holding the position. And I repeat it again. It starts with the contract, but only with the reception. It did not get, so it is go back and become a part of inheritance. If he had given what he had mentioned for his wife and his daughter eternally, and they received it, they recorded it legally, it will be like receiving. If it is registered or to hold by hand, then it become given. But if it's not done, in effect, no law, then it becomes part of the inheritance. Originally, as we said, what happened that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, he gave his wife Aisha 20 wasq from the cultivation of 20 wasq from a garden. When he died, he told his daughter before his death, he said, no one is more honored after you except you. And I have given you 20 wasq. If you have taken it and owned it, it could have been yours. But today it's part of the inheritance. It is your brothers and your sister, then divided at the book of Allah. I said, oh my father, if it is this and this, I would leave it. Important issue here, difference between the given and the will. The given is more your life, and you have possession of your money. You give to whomever that you have to be just with your kids or the wives. But the will is to give to after death. And Allah Azza wa Jalla has given everybody their part. There is no will for an inheritance. The one that is not his daughter, as he explained, but he took care of her since his childhood, her childhood. Maybe when he said that to his wife, it could be part of fatherhood and taking care. But the father, Allah Azza wa Jalla, forbid us to accept the original daughters. Allah forbid us to call people to accept to their fathers. If you don't know them, then they are brothers in religion. Not to call them as part of you. So can you say Muhammad, the father, the father of the believers, just like their wives are the mothers of the believers? No. By adoption, no. Allah Azza wa Jal gave the Prophet to marry Zayd ibn Haritha, his wife, after he divorced her. So what is forbidden in the saying Allah Azza wa Jal in the adoption, Muhammad is not a father, one of your men, but the messenger of Allah and the seal of the prophethood. This is the father of adoption. Just like for a person cannot have two hearts, no one can have two fathers. And Allah did not make your wives your mothers and didn't make your adopted one your kids. The fatherhood of adoption, Ibn Mas'ud, what is forbidden is the adoption to be the father, but it's allowed to take care and raise and stuff like that. So this daughter, this girl, is not part of the inheritance, so he can put her part of the will. So he could, well, if that's his will, it's not a gift, then it will, but within the third of what he owns. And 1/3 is too much. question about the congratulation of the New Year has nothing to do with religion. It will be just like the Hijri year. It's a confusing question. Our Who said that the Hijri is not related to religion? Allah said, they ask about the month, it is times for people and Hajj. We know our times from the Christians and from our. So what you mentioned is not right. Our calendar is based on Islam. Anyway, I have to. Something I mentioned the Jum'ah. Don't congratulate me on a year that's not mine. I am not a priest or a rabbi. I am monotheism Muslim. My New Year is Shahrullah al-Muharram. But to reply on the New Year, you can reply, but it's better than to start. It's easier to do that because Allah Azza wa Jalla said, if you are greeted with something, to reply with it or better. And one of the scholars said, if Fir'aun greeted me, I will greet him back. But we don't start congratulating people with the New Year. That's not our part of our culture. But in all, if it is required, some of the considerations, friendship, neighborhood, participation in work, and it is with general terms, nothing wrong you are admitting, and nothing forbidden, it is okay as a social greeting when it is away from the religious part. And all matters with the intentions, and for everybody what he intended. So we do not say originally it is allowed 100%, no. And it's not forbidden. There is exceptions without doubt. And those who are engaged with non-Muslims in work or social areas or neighborhood or work, any of these issues, of course, that require you to do some kind of be nice to congratulate. If it is with general part, does not go into anything forbidden or something against Allah or His rules. When can you combine the prayers in the masjid? And if the start of the rain to combine the once the rain stops, if it is cut and go, come and go, and you expect it to keep stop right, but you know it's coming and come back, then you still allowed to combine the prayers. There's uncertainty in the weather here. I stop right now, then it will come in abundance. And people expect that, then the expert in this allow it. People who follow, they could tell. If they can, then it's okay. The full coverage in an area where it has a lot of going up and down, I think you asked me that question and I answered it directly. But we could answer it again. The originally is forbidden because it has a lot of the risk. What is allowed is the what is forced by the law, which is liability. It is allowed uh, in full coverage. It's on the time that is required, and whenever there is an area, there is a need. It's an area that has very severe weather, and there is high risk, and you might be exposed to so many accidents, and then it is okay to have that kind of coverage. And it's not allowed someone else. Work in home care, and people are always lying, but I have nothing to do with it. Exactly, you have nothing to do with it. You take what is exposed, and their line is with Allah Azza wa Jal. And the rules of this country knows how to catch the liars. One or two might be, but they know how to catch people who lie. Someone is asking, I lived in Britain so many years. Most of my money comes in it, and a little bit in the east. And each country, there is poor people who are needy, and they don't have enough for food and drinks. Do I have a choice to take my zakah in either country? I convinced to take put the zakah in the area that I earned the money, and put the nisab on the all. And I had my return from England. The answer, we have an origin and then exception. The zakah, wherever the money is, you pay the zakah. Zakat al-fitr, wherever the people are who's making the zakah. Because the poor are looking at that money. So the zakah of the money is spent wherever that money is there. And the fitr, wherever the person who are making, who had, where he exists. But there's no problem to go beyond that origin and take the zakat to the areas that are hit by calamities, like the areas with hardship, or the places of refugees, or places where more people who are more poor, or people of relatives who are part of the zakah, because the charity on your family or those relatives, it is kinship and charity. A brother said, I have a company. I kept it with money from some friend. Now that one is grown and became, I didn't get that many profits. And became a brand and became famous. I gave the participant from depends on his shares. Without having, I give them their part, but still I give them some profit, and I know there is no actual profit. I used to tell myself that the company is growing and is famous. After that became difficult. The first year I gave them false profit, but it was little. After that I stopped and given, and I made so many different, and they were patient with me. Where's the question? Now it's getting worse. I decide take the money, and I can't touch the origin. There is a person. Now they have lost a lot of time with me, and the value of the and they want me to compensate them by adding money to the owners that they have lost their the value of their money because of inflation, and they lost a lot of time. That allowed, or is it forbidden, or is what is the issue? If it is like you're saying, what you're saying is goodness, but not part of riba. Riba is the increase that is conditioned on the origins of principles. But the volunteer given, that's honor and nobility. Sahih al-Bukhari from Abu Hurairah who said, a man, he owed the Prophet ﷺ some camels. So, and they found an old one. The Prophet ﷺ said, the best is the best who gives. Someone give you money and left it with you. When he came back to give, you decided to give him more from yourself. Voluntarily, that was not conditioned to begin with. That's not of riba at all. That's nobility and closeness to Allah. The best among you is the one who best given. But I have a problem here with their money. I have to give it back. I cannot touch it. He signed papers that he can't. He owes them this and that. Let them write whatever they want, and let the laws be whatever it wants. If you ask me about Shara, I will tell you. The one who put his money, he is not guaranteed his money except with the not taking care of it. Like if you did wrong, you cannot put a condition. Oh, anytime I want it, I take it back. No, you're not letting me borrow money. You're giving me money as part. It could lose or could make money. And the one with the money, he loses money, and the one who work loses time. This is the problem in most of the contracts nowadays. He'll invest this money for me. He tell him from the beginning, anytime I want my money, you have 15 days to give me back. This is not Muslim, because that guarantee that will not make it a mudarba. It became a loan with increase, with riba. The riba still in that contract. They don't want their money to take any risk to lose any money. You don't lose except if you did something wrong. But I think what you did, you have done something wrong. You took false numbers and took that the name is getting and the company is getting bigger. You did not pay attention the actual numbers that could be distributed between you. So you gave them an illusion that this is going, but they did not. This is something you have a problem in it that makes you liable for a little bit. This is what we have for today. Inshallah, we'll continue next time. Subhanakallah wa hamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.